Today is all about a character who's been a part of the Avengers story since the early days of the team, a complicated, often misunderstood hero who has a devoted following of readers. This is Simon Williams, Wonder Man. Sanford Williams was a brilliant industrialist. With his wife Martha, they fathered two children, Eric Williams and the younger brother, Simon Williams. Simon was the one to join his father's business. When his father passed away, Simon took control of the corporation at just 22 years old. Williams' main competitor was Stark Industries, but Simon was inexperienced, and the company was quickly losing market share. Plus, Stark's advancements were making Simon's patents obsolete, so Simon's brother Eric suggested they embezzle some money. That didn't go well, and Simon was quickly arrested and put on trial for embezzlement. In the courtroom before the judge, the Enchantress approached the bench and said that she would pay Mr. Williams' bond. She later said that Iron Man was their enemy, and that Simon was penniless with nowhere to turn, so she and the executioner brought Simon to a secret lair hidden in the Amazon jungle, the lair of Baron Heinrich Zemo. Zemo bombarded concentrated potent ionic rays directly at Simon's body. When he awoke, Simon Williams was reborn as Wonder Man. His strength rivaled that of Giant Man at full size, and his bare fist the equal of Thor's Uru hammer Mjolnir. His new costume had miniature rockets in the belt to let him fly like Iron Man. Zemo then revealed that to control him, the same ionic rays that empowered him were also killing him, and that if he remained obedient, Zemo would continue to give Wonder Man the antidote injections. And thus, phase 2 of Zemo's plot was put into motion. Infiltrate the Avengers. When the Avengers attacked Zemo's base, Wonder Man took down Enchantress and Executioner, and then met the Avengers team, telling them he was Wonder Man from the heart of the Amazon jungle. He also said that he wanted to join their team. Captain America almost figured out the plot, so Enchantress cast a spell to inform Cap of Wonder Man's rare disease that Zemo had given him. Hank Pym, Tony Stark, and Dr. Donald Blake all pitched in to try to find a cure for Wendy. Wonder Man then captured the Wasp and brought her to Zemo to lure the Avengers. They managed to best the Avengers, but when Zemo said he wanted to kill them, Simon started questioning his allegiances. Zemo wanted to kill them, and these heroes had tried to help him, so he turned on Zemo, saving the Avengers, but also ensuring he didn't get the antidote. And with that, Wonder Man died in Iron Man's arms. Hank Pym managed to record Simon's brainwaves and stored his mind in a computer until they could work out how to revive him. And Ultron would end up using Simon's latent brainwaves when building Vision. In Avengers 21, a former mercenary of Zemo's was stranded in the jungle when Enchantress used the Wonder Man ionic equipment to transform Eric Jostin into Power Man. Right after that, the lawyers from Marvel's distinguished competition issued a cease and desist to Marvel, saying that Wonder Man might infringe on DC's Wonder Woman, and so Stan Lee said they wouldn't use Wonder Man anymore. Just over a decade later, and Marvel had debuted Power Man, Luke Cage. And not long after that, DC Comics came up with Power Girl, something that Stan Lee felt was hypocritical, and with that double standard in mind, he decided to resurrect Wonder Man. Wonder Man came back in Avengers issue 102, though he was still unconscious. Simon's brother was angry about what happened, so he donned his own costume and took on the moniker of Grim Reaper. Grim Reaper attacked the Vision and told him that Ultron had used Simon's brainwave patterns for the basis of Viz's own mind, which Grim Reaper argued made them brothers. And then in Avengers issue 131, it was Kang the Conqueror who resurrected Wonder Man as part of his Legion of the Unliving. They all took the Avengers to the Labyrinth of Limbo, and there Viz and Wendy had a rematch, though Vision turned his body hard as a diamond, which ended up hurting Wonder Man's fist. They came back from Limbo with Vision's body, and the Legion started bickering amongst themselves. Thor then showed up to fistfight Wonder Man, trying to get to Kang, and the two titans battled. And then Wendy battled with Vision, who managed to punch out Wonder Man as Thor traded blows with Kang. The Avengers were able to overcome them all that time. Later, when Thor announced he was leaving and the Avengers roster was in flux, a big crate showed up at Avengers Mansion, and a fist punched through the crate and Wonder Man tumbled out. He pointed at Viz, repeating the same words, then collapsed to the ground unconscious. His brain was wiped clean of all memories, and Scarlet Witch was able to use her magic to figure out that Wonder Man was now a Zuvembi, walking dead. So they brought him to New Orleans, and the walking zombie led them to the swampy lair of one Black Talon. They took him down, but the mystery of who brought Lee back to Black Talon remained. They then brought him back to New York to rest, but the zombie Simon got up, stumbled outside, and ended up fighting with a crowd of aggressive civilians. He got away down an alley where he ran into a serpent crown-wielding living laser who hypnotized him to attack the Avengers. Beast then went out to find Wendy, but Wonder Man was onto him and ambushed the furry Avenger, and those two ended up battling right there on the sidewalk. Simon lunged at Beast, who flipped him headfirst into a wall and knocked Simon out cold. And later, Living Laser attacked, so Wonder Man teamed up with the Avengers to stop him, and with that, Wonder Man became an Avenger. One of his very first tasks as a new Avenger was to sit bedside while the Wizard recovered at Bellevue from a heart attack. As an Avenger, his first fight was with Atuma and his forces. Wonder Man punched Atuma in the face, calling him Brine Brain. He also fought Namor in that ordeal, whom he punched out to sea. Namor attacked Wizard, so Wundy punched him in the face too, and Namor was knocked out. That fight allowed Doctor Doom to capture Vision, and Namor was there though to fight Atuma, so they both teamed up. Namor and Simon swam down to the sea to fight Atuma, who now had Vision trapped, and so the Avengers, Wonder Man, and Namor defeated them. In the Defenders, Wonder Man had a run-in with Hellcat, and then Moon Knight and Valkyrie, who didn't yet know he was an Avenger. Later he fought Graviton, and then had to take on his brother Grim Reaper, who wanted to destroy Vision still, and they fought, but Wundy's original costume was destroyed. In Avengers 161, Wonder Man got a new costume, which was designed for him by the Beast. This was just before Ant-Man and an army of ants attacked, until Wasp could gas him, and then Ant-Man collapsed into Wonder Man's arms. But just then Ultron attacked the team, taking Wonder Man down with his Encephalo Ray. They battled Ultron at his lair while Ultron was trying to make his own metallic bride, which would be called Jocasta. We then learned that Simon was seemingly dead, his body transformed from normal blood and carbon base to a being nourished by ionic energy, whose cells were each like mini fusion reactors, now a being of living energy, nearly immortal. It was in Avengers 164 when he finally had his first run-in with Power Man, as the team did battle with the Lethal Legion and Count Nefario. But in that battle, his own mortality was making him afraid to jump into the breach. He didn't know he was immortal yet, causing him to hesitate and retreat when he should advance. And right afterwards, he got his iconic safari jacket look. It wouldn't be until they took on Michael Korvac in Forest Hills when Simon was finally able to overcome his newfound fears that coming back from the dead meant there must be a reason, some important purpose. He used this realization to punch Centurion out of the sky, feeling strong again and aiding Miss Marvel in her fight against Centurion. Later, Miss Marvel used Wonder Man as a fastball special, throwing him into Centurion. Around this time, Wonder Man also teamed up with Spider-Man to fight a villain named the Griffin. Later, he went to the movies with Beast to watch Robin Hood. This is when Henry Gyrick showed up and shook up the Avengers roster, and Wundy wasn't part of the new lineup. So Simon decided to use his new free time to try his hand at acting and auditioning for roles in Hollywood movies. Eventually, though, Simon did come back to Avengers Mansion when Gyrick's restrictions were lifted by the National Security Council, and he got his priority privileges back. He said he was having trouble getting work because the energy was making his eyes look red. He had learned to control his inner flux enough to look normal, but doing so would give him a massive headache afterward. But that wasn't it. It was really the critics who were killing his projects. He was still an actor, but part-time now, so he could also be an Avenger. Simon joined Tony Stark to tour one of his old factories to see if Tony would want to buy it. That's when a worker fell into a cauldron of superheated liquid metal and turned him into the rampaging Inferno. So Tony and Simon had to battle the Inferno at the Pittsburgh factory, but in the end, Inferno took his own life by extinguishing his body in a river. We then learned that Simon was keeping his next TV gig from his friends because he was embarrassed. It was as the Tarzan-like Mr. Muscles for the Uncle Elmer show. Just after he revealed that, he stood with the Avengers against Taskmaster to free the Wasp from confinement. And when they got back, the Beast hooked Simon up on a date with a lady named Melissa Zimmerman, but she brought her hyper kid, so Simon wasn't happy. And then, still drunk from too many Mai Tais, he and the Beast were picked up by the Avengers to fight with Red Ronin, a metal monster built by Stark and S.H.I.E.L.D. meant to fight Godzilla. Wonder Man then had to go back to his old family business factory, and there he fought with the Mob, Dreadnought, and Madame Mask. He then, after being let go from the Uncle Elmer show gig, teamed up with the Beast to face the menace of the Crawlers. As Simon Williams, Wundy starred in a TV show called Monster Man, something that upset the Fantastic Four's The Thing because it was based on his adventures. He actually went to the film set to confront Simon and the director. In Avengers 211, the lineup was set to change again, so Wundy told his friend Beast that he was planning to leave voluntarily to try his hand again as plain old Simon Williams. But before he left, he ended up sparring with Hercules, instant friends. He departed, though he would remain a reserve Avenger. Then Doctor Strange summoned Wonder Man to help with the Ian Fate situation. Eric Payne, the Devil Slayer, tried to kill Ian Fate, but it was Wonder Man who was able to stop him from doing so. In the Thing series, Ben ended up in a kerfuffle with Simon, She-Hulk, and Spider-Man. It was a misunderstanding though because Simon was being controlled by the Puppet Master. He then had to team up with Spider-Man again, this time to fight a guy named the Mauler. Then he got a booking on the David Letterman show and showed up with Beast, Black Panther, Black Widow, and Hawkeye. In 1984, a new team was split off of the main Avengers roster, authorized by Vision, and stationed on the West Coast. This new team was Hawkeye, Rhodey Iron Man, Mockingbird, Tigra, and Wonder Man. In Iron Man's Annual 7, Wonder Man and Hawkeye teamed up with Iron Man to fight with Power Man, who was now calling himself Goliath. Wonder Man said he was ready to go back to being Wonder Man, and almost on cue ended up fighting a guy named Blank, and then had to fight Graviton. He then went with his new West Coast team to fight the villainous Maelstrom. In 1985, Wonder Man got his own special one-shot issue where he'd washed out on an audition and went to Cal Oakley at Cordco looking for a new job. And while there for the interview, a worker opened a dimensional portal and Wonder Man was forced to fight all these little extra-dimensional trolls that came through from the other side. In Avengers 253, Wonder Man got another costume change, ditching the safari jacket for a one-piece red and black look. In Hulk 316, it took the combined power of Namor, Hercules, Iron Man, and Wonder Man to fight the Jade Giant, his first battle with the Hulk, but then turned to Doc Samson when Hulk lumbered away. The West Coast Avengers then got their own ongoing series in 1985, and Wonder Man was front and center for those stories. That opened up with Wendy flying from SoCal with Tiger in his arms. When Ultron attacked and Simon's own brother, the Grim Reaper, along with the Lethal Legion were behind the attacks, Wonder Man and the team fought back, and in between missions he got a callback to appear on the Johnny Carson show. It was just after this that Tiger said she wanted to be more than friends with Simon, so she kissed him and then ran off. He did go on that Johnny Carson show episode and revealed all of his secrets, finally relieved to have all of that guilt lifted. So with the West Coast team, they then took on the likes of Master Pandemonium, the Rangers, Headlock, Trouble, Desert Dwellers, 1870s Outlaws, Dominus Rex, Abomination, Mephisto, and Blackheart, all in Hades, even Doctor Doom in Marvel graphic novel 27. This was around the same time that he learned he couldn't die, that he was basically immortal. Simon then helped fight the rampaging Supernova who was hunting for Nebula, and later Simon's team had to take on Vigilance to rescue Vision. In Marvel Comics Presents, when he was working out when Hawkeye told him he got a callback on a part he'd read for as the original Human Torch. It turns out his mind was being controlled by Enchantress, and he fought his team before saying he quit. Enchantress controlled him and imbued him with the power of a god with energy that also drained the Avengers. But that same procedure broke her spell, and that Wonder Man, godlike, called upon Thor's hammer, and he was able to use it. He was worthy, but he used it to send Enchantress to another dimension before Mjolnir returned to Thor's hand. He said he knew now what it was like to be both man and Superman. Later the team took on Magneto and the UFOs, then Mole Man, before having to save a Mephisto-influenced Scarlet Witch. Then they battled Hydra Man, a new Legion of the Living, and once more Simon's brother Grim Reaper. During the second Armor Wars, Wendy used a mirror shield to battle back against the Living Laser. Next, Simon joined the team in Freedom Force after Venom caused a prison break at the Vault. In Avengers Spotlight, Marvel ran a vote and Wonder Man won the favorite Avenger who does not have his own magazine category. So, based on that, at the start of the 1990s, Simon got his own ongoing self-titled series that lasted for 29 issues. It was a fun satirical series full of 90s isms and things that would get you canceled today. The series opened with him fighting Eric Jostin, aka Goliath, once more, who was jealous of Simon's celebrity in Hollywood. Simon and the team then took on Thundra and Archon the Magnificent, then Night Shift, where the Hangman noosed up Simon's neck. In Quasar's book, Aisha, aka Her, ended up kissing Simon, saying his genetic phenotype was acceptable for her. In issue 3 of his series, Simon's Hollywood agent Neil gave Wendy a sidekick named Spider the Sidekick Supreme. He fought with Gamma Burn, destroying his jetpack in the process, and the two of them were able to get her back to her human form. Wonder Man then battled Splice, got some Aikido training from Captain America, and then fought with Rampage. And he teamed up with Hawkeye and the Living Laser to defend Stark Enterprises, while the other West Coasters raided an AIM Island complex. Wendy was on the Avengers team to head to the Shi'ar Empire to convince them to keep their war with the Kree off of Earth's doorstep, and on that journey they had to battle with Gladiator. He was out in deep space when they met up with the Starjammers before uncovering a massive negabomb that could destroy everything. The bomb ended up exploding and Wonder Man was seemingly dead again, met by dead Kree and a skeletal Scarlet Witch, but that was a nightmare dream that had been haunting him for days, so he had called his scriptwriter friend and asked for help. He fought with Anchor, which is when his powers exploded and he nearly injured Alex and Spider. And then during the Infinity War event, had to fight Magus's evil doppelgangers, even one of himself. He literally ripped the head off of his evil body double. Wonder Man then started to become consumed by anger as his ionic energy was changing and ended up leaving. He was beating up gangsters when the likes of US Agent, Living Lightning, Hawkeye, Spider-Woman, and Scarlet Witch showed up to talk to him, and it took the whole team to hold him back from killing more criminals. Living Lightning stopped him long enough to say that his powers had become stabilized and he had to remain angry to remain strong. His sidekick showed up next, displaying new powers that he had gotten from Simon's ionic bombardment, and then ended up walking away sad that everything around him either died or changed. He nearly killed Wanda in a fit of rage before walking off, calling himself an engine of destruction. He tossed Alex his costume and flew off, quitting and done with everything. Then all the people affected by his ions became their own superhero team called the Crazy Eights. Rampage and Splice then attacked the Crazy Eights and mortally wounded some of them, so they had to go to Simon's Macbeth video shoot to get him to come back and help. So Wonder Man came back and ended up fighting with Rampage and Splice. He then teamed up with Scarlet Witch to go to Canada to rescue Weapon X, aka Wolverine. During Infinity Crusade, Wonder Man was one of the heroes called the Warlock's Good Side, calling herself the Goddess, and the Goddess took Simon and her group to her world called Paradise Omega. In US Agent's book, Wendy was at a pool party eating fajitas, which doesn't add to the story, but I wanted to include it anyway. Around this time, Simon and Alex grew close and they became engaged. After the Avengers West Coast dissolved, some of the team formed a new team called Forceworks, and Simon was part of that evolution, and it's here that Wanda said she was in love with Simon, attracted to him as his brain patterns matched her old flame vision. After a group of Kree called Star Stealth attacked, seeking revenge for the Negabomb event, Simon flew up to stop their ion ion cannon, and it exploded, causing Wonder Man's ionic energy to disperse, seemingly killing him. And as a result, thinking him dead, his engagement to Alex was called off, and she left. In 1998, when the Avengers were altered by Morgan Le Fay, Wonder Man came back, now a being of pure energy, and summoned by Scarlet Witch and her hexes and chaos magic. Simon said he hung out at the edge of life and death, and when Scarlet Witch called out for help, it drew him back to life. And so he, as pure energy, battled Morgan Le Fay, and when he surged his energy and blew, it changed the heroes back to normal, but again he was sacrificed for the greater good. After the Squadron Supreme attacked, Energy Wendy showed up again to double fist them all in the face. It was Wanda conjuring his energy with her hex powers. Later in Wanda's room, she conjured Simon again and ended up sleeping with him while Vision watched them through a wall, which was kind of weird. In the next fight, Magnum knocked Wanda out, and unconscious, she manifested Simon again, who beat that villain up. So Wanda went to Agatha Harkness asking for help and advice on what to do. Agatha said Simon wasn't completely dead, but that all she had to do to bring him back fully was return his love. This while Reaper summoned him along with Swordsman, Dr. Druid, Captain Marvel, Mockingbird, and Thunderstrike, undead heroes, to take down the Avengers. They captured the Avengers, and Wanda told Simon if he was not himself really to kill her, but he couldn't, and flew off with the other dead heroes. Wanda focused on him, struggling as hard as she could, and it worked. Simon was back in the flesh. He was still able to turn to his energy form, and he did so when they battled the Thunderbolts and Dominax, and later Alchema and Ultron 7 attacked and captured Simon and the Avengers. That is until Thor and the others could break them free. Back at the mansion, Vision was mad at Simon and punched him with a massive right hook, but instead of fighting back, he talked with Vision about how he was important, and in fact Simon envied Vision. That Vision shouldn't have to be mad or jealous or feel second tier. Then there was another roster shakeup that became a mess. And after that fiasco, Wendy decided to head back out west, and for that trip out west, his friend the Beast decided to join him. Then in Thunderbolts, Simon fought with Eric, now named Atlas, who both then ended up under the control of Count Nefaria. And the Count took them both and set them loose on the Avengers while Madame Mask looked on. During the Avengers Ultron Imperative story, a robot version of Wonder Man showed up, and during the King Dynasty event, Wonder Man broke off his fling with Wanda because she still had feelings for Viz. During Marvel's Civil War, Wonder Man was working for S.H.I.E.L.D. and for Iron Man's pro-registration movement, and due to his film experience, he was able to create propaganda for his faction. Simon then became a member of the Mighty Avengers team. As part of that team, he started a romantic fling with team leader Captain Marvel. With the Mighty Avengers, Wendy fought Mole Man and Ultron infused Iron Man, battled Dr. Doom again, and even took on the Hulk in his Warbound during the World War Hulk story, and then was part of the opposition when the Skrulls invaded, led by Skrull Queen Varenki. And in 2007, Wonder Man got another series, this one a 5-parter, a tale told by an older white-haired Simon who told of a time he helped rehab a villain named Lady Killer. In a big move after being kicked off the Avengers team by Norman Osborn, Simon went on TV to say that his time with the Avengers was a big waste and they did more harm than good. So for a moment, he joined his old West Coast team and others to battle Ultimo, and he joined the Lethal Legion team, but to try to keep them in check as they fought back against Osborn's Dark Reign tyranny. And then Simon created his own group called the Revengers that he told had to oppose the Avengers, and so they ended up attacking the new Avengers at Avengers Mansion. They defeated the new Avengers and then plotted to go after the main Avengers roster, headquartered at Avengers Tower. Iron Man then tried to talk sense into Simon for doing this, but it didn't work, so Iron Man trapped Simon in his energy form in a containment field while Thor took down the Revengers. Later though, Simon was able to escape that containment unit. And after that, Simon redeemed his name by helping the Avengers find the Wasp in the Microverse and bring her back. And around this time, he also ended up being attacked by Red Hulk. But because he ended up helping the Wasp, she recommended Simon for the Avengers Unity Division. However, he told them he was done fighting, that he was a pacifist now. And while on that team, Simon and Wanda started catching feelings again. And later, during an ordeal with the Apocalypse Twins that brought Exetar, the Celestial Executioner, to Earth, Rogue absorbed Simon's powers to defeat the Celestial, but afterward, Simon's mind remained with Rogue. The team then went to High Evolutionary's Counter-Earth to try to rescue Wanda and her brother Pietro, and when they were captured, the Master Scientist removed the parts of Simon's mind from Rogue's head. It turns out he was still in there, and it was, of all things, a kiss from Deadpool that tripped the circuit and allowed Rogue to jettison Simon from her body. During the War of Realms event, Baldur the Brave came to Simon asking for help keeping his sister Lausa safe from Malekith. So he said yes, he'd help out, and he caused massive amounts of destruction when he was forced to confront Ares, who was working with Cinder, the Queen of Cinders. They hid out in a campground for a while, meeting Deathlocket, and then found themselves in a town called Six Gun Territory, where the Phantom Rider and others attacked, but he got away. During Secret Empire, Wonder Man was part of the anti-Hydra underground resistance, and during the Empire event, Wonder Man helped the Kree and Skrulls out against the Kotati. Most recently, he showed up in MODOK Head Games on screen with Hawkeye, who together had just taken Taskmaster into custody. And he's still out there getting ready for his next gig, his next film appearance. And with that, that's a wrap on this, my friends. I'm Jesse, this is JLS Comics. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.